Okay, thank you so much, Blessing, for joining us today. You're welcome again, my dear sister, Blessing Abila. You're not a stranger to me,
Thank
but
you.
I'm going to read your bio. Let me just dig that out. So, thank you for joining us on today's Thriving Beyond the Label event, where we're talking about parenting strategies and resources. So, Blessing is not just a friend; she's a sister, and she's one of our very, very, very key members within Thriving Beyond the Label and a director of the CIC itself. And Blessing is a parenting coach. She's passionate about helping families thrive through inclusivity, emotional intelligence, and mindful parenting practices. She has many years of professional experience guiding parents from diverse backgrounds with many personal experiences raising her own three children. She has a strong belief that every family is unique and deserves tools tailored to their specific needs to foster growth, connection, and understanding. She recognizes the beauty of diverse parenting journeys, which for me is fantastic because not all parenting coaches understand neurodiversity, but Blessing definitely understands neurodiversity, and that's why she's sharing with us today. She offers one-on-one coaching and community engagements where she gives practical tools like what she's going to be sharing today and compassionate guidance to help parents overcome challenges and celebrate success. She is on a mission to inspire a generation of parents to lead with love, raise emotionally intelligent leaders of tomorrow, and cultivate deeper and more meaningful family connections. Such a tongue twister. Thank you so much, Blessing, for joining us today. So I open up the floor to you. Thank you, Lola, for joining. I'm sure many others will join us later. Just give us a few housekeeping rules. We are streaming this video on YouTube for the benefit of our community members that might not be able to join the live session. And we will be sharing a feedback form later on, just so that we can improve on future events. So, Blessing, over to you now. You have the
Thank
floor.
you. Thank you so much, Annie, for inviting me. Thank you for reading that bio beautifully. I really appreciate that. Thank you. So today I will be sharing parenting strategies and resources that are available for parents, mostly parents raising children with additional needs, and every other parents can also benefit from this. So one of the strategies that I often encourage my clients and families to use is the strengths-based approach. Strengths-based approach really focuses on identifying and fostering an inherent strength, which I believe every child has. It also emphasizes that parents should focus on the positives that their children have rather than focusing on the problems or the issues or the weaknesses or whatever diagnosis that the child has. Parents should rather focus on the solutions. It also emphasizes that parents should leverage the strengths that their children have, because I believe every child has got something within them. It involves a lot of reflective parenting as well. So parents should be encouraged to have self-reflection at the end of the day or at the end of the week and analyze activities or circumstances that may have happened within the home during the course of the day or during the course of the week. So after reflections, parents are able to, explore other approaches or other ways that they can support their children. So that's one other item the strengths-based approach focuses on. He also encourages collaboration between the parents and the child. So instead of the parents dishing out instructions, additional rules and regulations, it involves parents having collective conversations with their children or with the child and making collective decisions in the home that foster growth for the family. Also, another thing that is prevalent within the strength-based approach is shifting perspectives. So parents are encouraged to not think about the neurodivergence or think about the diagnosis that the child has. Rather, they should think about the differences. So it's not about the child becoming better or the child improving at a particular task. Rather, it's about the child being different because everyone is just different. So that's an aspect the parents can focus on while using this approach. It also recognizes the fact that every child has got great skills within them. Every child has got potentials, and every child is uniquely created. So parents should focus on those unique abilities, the strengths, and the skills within their children rather than focusing on problems or focusing on anything that might cause a bit of distraction within the family. So the next, I think I'm just going to minimize this. The next item in terms of strength-based approach is effective communication. So this is another area where parents often struggle while raising children with additional needs. So these communication strategies involves using visual aids. So there are a lot of visual aids how the parents just need to speak to therapists or speak to teaching assistants or even teachers or even coaches for the best aid that is suitable for their child. It's also a good approach for you to experiment different visual aids because we have a number of them out there. So experiment on different ones and see which one best suits your child. We also encourage the use of social stories, pictures, emotional tags, also creating a routine within the home to enforce a better strategy when it comes to communicating with your child. Parents are also encouraged to use clear and direct language. A lot of children with additional needs they often struggle with colloquial languages. They often struggle with complex words and complex instructions. So it's also encouraged that you break your language, make it clear, make it simple, and make it really direct. Avoid the use of words that might complicate things for the children or make them feel a bit stressed or a bit anxious, because those can also be triggers for the children. Also, a lot of listening, active listening, and a lot of patience is also encouraged for parents. And going forward, we also have, oh dear, what is this? Okay. We also need to consider sensory overload for our children. Sorry. So we need to consider sensory overload for our children because a lot of them often struggle with huge sensitivities around. So again, there are certain triggers that you need to identify within your home. Some children struggle with noise, some it could be bright lights, some could be texture, it could be clothing. So we encourage parents to look for things that are comfortable and enforce a more supportive and a more inclusive environment that makes the child feel at home and make the child feel safe. If there is need, you need to modify your environment, especially the living room where the child stays. Bedtime is a good time that towards bedtime to tidy up the room, remove every toys, turn off the lights. Again, depending on what the child needs or what the child likes. So that's why those conversations are important when creating rules around the household, so that whatever is going on in the house aligns with the child needs and what the child feels most comfortable with. So these are some of the strategies we can employ as parents. Also, we need to encourage sensory breaks. Although some children might like loud environments or might like music or might like dancing, it's important that we take breaks in between these activities just so that you don't overload the child. So that's another thing to consider for parents. Thinking about strategies for managing behaviors, we often know that behaviors are speaking. It's most behaviors often communicate children concerns or children needs or children worries. So a good approach would be to pay attention to your child and to make them feel that you understand them, that you see them. And then one way to do this is also by understanding the root cause of a particular behavior. We often find that some children exhibit patterns of behavior. So again, understand your child by having those conversations to understand the underlying factors that is leading to that behavior. Because with those conversations, you will be able to identify those behavior patterns that you can look out for, and then to avoid them, to prevent those risky behaviors. We often encourage positive reinforcement behaviors. So rather than focusing on the negative, focus on the positive, focus on praising your child, use reward method. Some people use reward charts. Also, it's important to break down tasks that are complex for your children. especially when it comes to homework and tasks, at home. Break them down. It's important that you also speak to your child teacher, speak to your child's TA to see what's working for them in school so that you can also use the same approach for the child at home. Co-regulation is also important for you to co-regulate with your child in terms of managing behaviors at home. Also creating a safe space for your child to kind of debrief and calm down when there are struggles and behaviors at home that are kind of not tolerable. So again, the key point here is to have those conversations with the child, make them understand that there are certain guidelines that you have at home or certain rules, will I say, that have been set at home. Help them to enforce those rules, reiterate it to them over and over again as often as possible, because you need consistency when it comes to these approaches in terms of managing behaviors at home. So again, it's not a one size fits all. The best thing is to keep exploring, keep experimenting until you find the best approach that suits the child and the family. And then in terms of what is this? Okay. In terms of navigating education, a lot of children with additional needs, they often require early intervention from professionals as well as from support. If you are within Cambridgeshire, one of the ways in which we support families with children with additional needs is to contact the Early Help Corps services, so they can provide really crucial support and resources for you. If the child requires any sort of therapeutic intervention, like CBT or ABA, traditional therapists, behavioral therapists, this is a good time for you to take advantage and use those resources that the early help team will provide for you. And there's a contact number and email here for parents to reach out if needed. A lot of children require an individualized education plan. So again, this team would often provide resources and support in terms of completing the child's IEP with the family during the early years of the child. And then also advocacy and collaboration. So in these instances, it's very important for parents to attend meetings with school, get to speak with your school Senko team, know how the school operates, know if they have like a solid, formidable Senko team and sort of support around for the child. Also, you need to be speaking to them very regularly. In fact, it's a good idea for you to even become their friend so that you understand how they support the children in school and understand the support they are providing for your own child before your child goes into school. So again, building a strong partnership with the school is essential for the success of your child during those early years. And then also in terms of support and resources that you can get within Cambridgeshire, because I believe a lot of us are within Cambridgeshire. If you are joining us from another county council, it's a good advice for you to perhaps Google your local council and see the sort of support that they have within their local authority. But right now, I will be speaking about what Cambridgeshire offers for parents raising children with additional needs. And if you're joining us from abroad or outside the UK, then perhaps you need to look at what is obtainable within your locality. So for Cambridgeshire, we have local support networks for parents. And there are a range of services available for families and children raising children with additional needs. I think your first point of call would be to contact the number on the screen there, the 0345 number, or even to email the team, because we have the Children with Disabilities team. So they would usually come out to your home and assess your family. So we have the child and family assessment. So they will carry out this assessment with the family and understand what the child needs. So again, it's a good idea for you to do this before the child goes to school so that you can support the child from that start and up until the end of the child's education. And then we also have local parents and support groups. Pinpoint is a very good one because it's a charity organization that is run by parents raising children with additional needs. I think they work very closely with the local authority as well. So they support parents with information, with resources, helping to complete EACP plan, IEP plans, helping you communicate with your child's school and providing as many information as possible that you would need as a parent to support your child and your household. We also have the family voice in Peterborough. They are quite good as well. Aspire Cambridge, they often help parents as well. And then, of course, the National Autistic Society Cambridge. We have a whole lot more. This is just a few that I've listed out here. We also have some other organizations like Center 33. They are quite good in providing specialized support for families raising children with additional needs. And they also offer things like workshops, training, family activities for your child. And then we also have the special needs team as well. So what they do is they provide a sort of individualized passports for parents raising these children, and then during holidays, half term, and even when parents need respite as well, you can use that passport to access resources within Cambridgeshire. So that's the special need information team. That's what they do for parents raising additional needs children. So these are some of the local support networks that we have that will be beneficial for some of our parents within Cambridgeshire. Also contacting the disability team for your child and family assessment, which I spoke about earlier. These are some ways in which you can request this assessment. It's also good for you to remember that when you contact them, the assessments will be done within your household. So it's not just for the child alone. They are considering the whole family. So all the children in the house, your husband, the wife, the child in question. And it's quite detailed assessment. They also take into consideration your finances, your work, if you're employed, and a whole lot of history. But the good thing is that it helps because they're able to identify the support that the child will need and how it best fits your family. So they provide a specialized, or will I say individualized support that best suits your family condition, including financial support as well. So these are some of the contact details, referral emails that you can use to assess the support from this team in particular. In my experience, a lot of parents do kind of hesitate, or they just don't like to get in touch with this team to assess them because the assessment can be quite intrusive, quite sensitive as well. So mostly among the global majority community, or what you would call the Black community, they often don't like this process. But I would want to encourage everyone to give it a go. You're doing it for the sake of your child, not necessarily for you. So think of the child. Again, go back to the child-focused approach and not what's best for you as an individual, or not what your neighbor, your friends, or whoever would think. It's all for the child. So that's one way to think about it, and that's why you should go for this support. Okay, so this is some information for SEND. So we have the SENDIAS team, which is Special Educational Needs and Disability Information Advice and Support Services. You can contact them as well for further individualized support and services. There are a range of them. You don't need to contact all of them. So why I put all this in here is because if one doesn't work out, or if one is not providing exactly what you need or what to do for your family, you can contact the other one. So again, that's what we do. We explore as much as possible until we find what's best for the family. So again, you can contact this team if their support will be beneficial to you. Cambridgeshire also have targeted support services. So these are specialized services, and the team is based of clinicians, therapists, and doctors, and people who provide specific services. So after your assessment with the disability team, if you need targeted support, they will refer you back to this team for them to come and visit your home and see the sort of support that they will need. So they could provide support in terms of if you have a child struggling with behaviors, or if you have a child who is not eating well, or a child that is struggling with, it could be siblings management in the household. It could be anything. They have different specialized professionals. They all specialize in specific things that they do in terms of behavioral support and managing the household with the child that's got additional needs. So again, they could come out and complete another assessment with your family and see how best they can support you. So targeted support is a team that you would also want to consider if you think you are that parent that is struggling with either managing behaviors, or you've explored all the approaches that are there and it's still not working for you and your family. So this is a team that you can go directly to them, or you can do the child and family assessment first, and then if need be, they will refer you to this team. Again, they've got psychologists, so you can access psychology services if required for your family. And then we will move forward to understanding funding options and financial support in Cambridgeshire. So one of the things parents could get in terms of supporting the household to look after their child with additional needs is the DLA allowance. So again, based on the assessment that is completed by the assessment team, they would be able to determine if you need additional funding. However, we also have the one that's applicable to everyone within the UK. So that's the DLA allowance. So every child with additional needs should have this. Sometimes your child might not be diagnosed, but you know that your child is actually struggling within the home. You could also still get this if your child's teacher and perhaps the GP and you as a parent, you're able to state your experiences with your child so far. It's a long application form, but again, you have support from loads of charities to complete this if you're struggling, or get a coach or a professional to support you to complete this. But I will encourage parents to go for it, because really every little helps in terms of the DLA allowance that you will get. And your child is going to get that until when they are 16. And then from 16 to 18, your child can now get the PEEP allowances. The other support parents can have is carers allowance. So if you're a carer and you're not working full time, but you have a child that you're caring for, and you spend at least 35 hours a week caring for your child full time because of the needs that your child require, you could get allowance from carer services. So again, that is another financial support you can get. You can also get grants and funding from charity organizations. There were some other lists of charities that I listed earlier, and there are some below here as well. You can email them directly, contact them directly. And if you're fortunate enough, you can get grants from them, but you just need certain information to prove for you to be eligible for the grant. Some of them are quite generous and others are not. But again, it's worth trying for parents that are struggling financially to care for their household. Self-care for parents. Again, prioritizing your well-being is quite key, because irrespective of the support that you might get or the funding that you might get, if you are not looking after yourself as a parent, then it's like pouring water into a basket, or it's all going to end up in a waste. You're not going to be able to manage the behaviors or identify the triggers, or even have reflections, which at the end of the day, or have those collaborative conversations with your child to be able to support them, or even to co-regulate. You cannot apply any of the strategies. You cannot focus on the positives. You cannot promote your child's strengths or skills. So you can't even use any of the strategies that we've talked about, or even a lot of others out there. You wouldn't be able to effectively use that if you're not prioritizing your well-being. So as a parent, you need to rest, you need to recharge, seek support from professionals. Pinpoint, again, they are quite good. If you live in Cambridgeshire, you need to get in touch with them. They are quite good in terms of support. And of course, in terms of Cambridgeshire as a whole, once that you've completed the assessment of child and family one I spoke about, you will be eligible for some sort of respite, depending on your family circumstances. Of course, they won't give it to you if they know that perhaps you have a spouse or you have relatives around or friends that can help you. But if they see that you really don't have families around and you really require respite for a week or two, you will be eligible for respite. So you can also get that. So seek for support to support yourself. Again, think of your child, not yourself. So think that you need the support to be able to look after your child appropriately. That's why you need the support. So sometimes you might think you can get on, you can carry on. But no, think about the child on the on the long run. What's going to happen to my child? How is my child going to see me? Are they going to look back and say, okay, my mom did well, or my mom did her best, or not? So a lot of times when people are not seeking support, they're trying to be perfect. But that's not what the child needs. The child just needs you to be good for that time being, just to be present at that time that they need you, not to be perfect. So again, seek support. The support is out there. You can reach out, personally if you need support for your child. And then, of course, engage in hobbies and activities that will be able to enhance your mental and physical well-being as a parent. Building resilience and fostering independence. So a lot of our children with additional needs, we often think that we sometimes parents don't often think of them being independent or think of their future. I think it's important that we, as we are raising the children, we are also thinking of how they will be self-sufficient in the future. So when the child gets to 15 or 16, you want the child to be able to budget their finances. You want to be able to help them to make decisions. You want to be able to help them solve their problems. So again, be thinking of gradually using small steps to introduce little teachings to your child with additional needs. Don't underrate their memory or their capacity to understand or to learn. Think of promoting the child's independence. So gradually using small steps, support the child independence by teaching them little things, teaching them things like even how to use resources around the house, equipment around the house, and things like that. And then also provide the support that they need, and then of course celebrate any sort of success as you go along with your child. Trust me, children always like that sort of independence. So it's a good idea to encourage bits and bits of independence, for your child. Allow them to make some small decisions that they can make on their own. Allow them to solve some problems that they can solve on their own. They don't really like you buttering into every little thing that they're trying to do. So just give them a little bit of allowance and support them at the end of the day, or just see how it goes. Again, parenting is all about exploring and experimenting, seeing what works and trying the other way the next day. Another approach that I would like to talk about is the power of play. There's a lot of research about this out there. This really encourages children with additional needs to build social skills and then to build independence and, of course, building emotional resilience. So we have the structured play here, which is more about a sort of play or game that involves the child and the parent. So it could be puzzle, it could be board games, it could be Ludo games, anything that involves the adults or the parents or the caregiver as well as the child. So we should encourage this. It's a strategy that is quite silent, but it's also very powerful. So I want to encourage parents to use a lot of structured play with their children. We have the free play, which is when the child is playing independently on their own. It could be they are at the park and just swinging on their own, or it could be playing with their toy on their own without a parent. That also adds to the child's social building skills and development as well. So that can also be encouraged. But the structured play, I would say, it makes a huge difference. So that should be number one priority in terms of play with the child and the family. We also have the social games. Of course, we really cannot avoid this. This is more video games and games on screen. Um, that sort of helps a little bit, but then the first two, it's much better. And then the individual activity is quite similar to the free play. So there is a lot of impacts when we engage the children in terms of play. So that's an approach that parents can use as well in their parenting. So these are some other resources that schools can provide and parents can also provide for their children in terms of children with additional needs. Some schools will often support you with this. And if your child's school is not supporting, you can also ask them, do they have the text to speech software so that they can support your child with reading, support your child with learning. There is mind mapping tools available in school for children with ADHD. So again, ask your school. If they don't have it, most children with EHCP plan, they have certain funds that the government is giving them to care for their children. To ask them about that, they should be able to use that to provide resources for your child in school to support their learning and support their development as well. Um, Organizational apps as well can also be used. Again, speak to your child's social worker or family worker if the child has one, if you've done the child and family assessment, or speak to your child's TA or teacher in school to get support to enhance your child's learning and development. Um, Advocacy. This, of course, is very key for every parent. I've added this slide because every parent needs to understand that they are their child's advocates. They need to continue to speak up, not just for their child, speak up everywhere. You need to encourage your family members, your friends, your relatives, educate them about your child's neurodiversity and just let them know what's going on, just so that people can avoid misconceptions and stereotypes here and there, which is quite prevalent in our community. So again, you need to continue to raise awareness and speak up, because by doing so, you're empowering your child, you're empowering future children to come up, and then you're also encouraging inclusivity. So this is an approach that every parent raising a child with additional needs should be encouraged to adopt as well, because you're indirectly helping your child, you're helping the next child, and then you are also helping your community as a whole. So my key points that I would just want to spell out is that your child wants to be seen, your child wants to be safe, and your child wants to be supported. So a good way to look at it is, what does my child think about me? What is my child going to say about me in years to come? Does my child feel that they've been supported? Have I actually done enough? Have I explored all the resources and tools around me? So that's a good thing to think about at the end of your day or at the end of the week. And then write it down, and depending on the answer, you think of what you can do better the following week or the following day. So that is one point I really would want everyone to know. And of course, embrace your child. Everyone is neurodiverse. So embrace your child neurodivergence. So whatever your child is, embrace that, celebrate that strength, and shift perspectives and focus as often as you can, just to accommodate your child and to support your child as well. Seek support, connect with parents and professionals within your local county, and build a strong support network for your child's well-being and for your child's success as well. And of course, advocate for inclusion. There is a link that I've added down here for parents. I'll be sharing this slide. So if you are interested, you can use this link and to access some resources. So if you click that link, it takes you to different workshops and different training that are available for parents. So some of these things you don't need to pay for them, because some people have made it easy and provided it for us. So just click on them, and depending on your child age, depending on what you need support with, it could be potty training, feeding, cooking, cleaning, behavior, speech, sensories, everything is all there. You just need to create some time. It could be 30 minutes at the end of the day. Log in, read, learn, watch the videos, so that you can support your child future and your child's growth really. Yeah, so that's it from me for today, and I'm happy to take any questions if anyone has got one. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Blessing. So if you don't mind, maybe just stop sharing the screen so that we can see your pretty face. Thank you so much. That was such an impactful presentation. It was a lot. I'm mindful that quite a number of our community members are traveling beyond the label are not able to join. So we'll be sharing the link with them. But if anyone here has any question, please feel free. Thank you so much to all everyone that has joined. Lola De, Wura, Sister Doris, and Francis. This must be Sister Nelly. Thank you all for joining. If you have any question, please feel free to share. I'll be dropping Blessings Instagram handle, her parenting coach handle, so that you can follow her if you're not following her. So while others are thinking, Blessing, I think I have a few questions. My first question has to do with the EHCP. I don't know how involved you are in the EHCP process, but there's been a lot of concern from parents about the how long it takes for the EHCP to come out and the draft and for it to be finalized. And also a lot of people have questions about the content of the EHCP. They feel like it doesn't cover, it is not individualized enough. So what can you share with regards to how people can advocate? You mentioned a lot about advocacy. If a parent feels like the EHCP provision of their child is not sufficient, what would you recommend should be their first line of action?
Okay, thank you. So I would recommend the child and family assessment that I spoke
Okay.
about. Um, because if you feel your child requires more support and more inputs in their EHCP plan, um, then if you have a family worker or you
Okay.
have a social worker, they
Okay.
will be the people that will advocate for you and your family because they'll be able to say, as professionals, the school and even any professional working with you around the school or around the EHCP, they will listen to you and they listen to your child and to your family as well. So they can be the first point of call for you. That's why I encourage parents to go and have the assessments because you'll be immediately assigned to a family worker or to a social worker. However, if your child doesn't require all that need or all the support, they're not going to assign you anybody. So it's just going to be you advocating for your child, unfortunately. So it's just going to be you saying, telling the school that your child needs this, your child needs that, you need this input, you need psychologists, you need therapists, and all that external support. And I mean, if you're already in this position and you're not getting that support from that school, then it's um, it's sad because it simply means that the Senko is really not doing enough to support you. So that's why I will encourage parents, if your child is moving to a new school or your child is going to secondary school, go and speak to the Senko in that school before you allow your child going to that school. Speak to the teachers, know who is the head of year 7 or your child, the head of year 7 for that school. Speak to the safeguarding league. In fact, speak to the school counselor, see what they have obtainable, see the sort of resources that they can, support you with before you take your child into that school. So that will be a good way to go about it. Also, you can also get independent advocates. So, for example, if you're a member of one of those charities, if you identify with one of them, especially the pinpoint one, they are parents who that's their job. They just go and advocate for you and speak on your behalf, or they can help you complete the form if you're still in the process of completing it. So that's again another way in which you can get support in terms of your EHCP. And then in terms of how long it takes, I mean, some people it is taking them about 2 months, some people it's 6 weeks. Depends again on your area or wherever your child is schooling. There is no timeline in terms of guaranteed time for it to take for the plan to come out. Yeah, but if your child haven't got one, speak to somebody before you start completing it. Because I've had parents who have said, oh, they want things added to the plan, and the school is saying no, they can't do that because the plan is already concluded already, and they can't add any more, unfortunately. So that can be a bit of a dicey situation between parents and school. But speak to a professional before you complete the plan, and then just be patient. Hopefully, it comes out within a good time frame for you and your family.
Okay, thank you. I'll come back. I have another question, but I'll take the question from Sister Doris.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you so much, Sister Blessing. This was awesome. Thank you. I just wanted to ask one two questions. My first question is in the council, is there a data on the percentage of blacks that are that has been supported? That's the first question. And then the second question I wanted to ask is, when you talked about the first place of call for the assessment for the children, is there an age limit? And yeah, if there's an age limit, so that I know if it's something I can assess or not. My daughter is 17.
Okay, so there's no age, it's 0 to 25. So the disability team that completes assessments for children and families that got a child with additional needs is 0 to 25. So if your child is between 0 to 25, they'll be able to support your family. So sorry, I'm answering the second one before the first one. And then the first one, I don't know if they have a data for people of our color, maybe black skin, who are assessing supports within the council. However, I know that the report I get is quite low. I've worked with a lot of families, but the black people I've worked with are maybe like 1 out of 10. So I think it's quite low. People don't like to get involved with social service. I don't know if it's because of what they hear or their experiences. I don't know why, but I think generally it's quite low. But I don't know if they have a specific data. I don't know if they've carried out research and there's a specific number at the moment. No, I'm not sure about that.
Good. Me, person, I don't know how the social services work here, but in Spain, like each family kind of is like the way you have your medical doctors. That's every family has a social service worker.
Oh,
So yeah, I don't know what's like why it's like this, but I think if I had a social service worker, I would have things would have been a lot easier for me than it is.
yeah.
So why I'm asking, because it has got to the stage where I'm now, my daughter doesn't want to go to school. Like, being in school is so much for her, you know.
Sorry, Sister Doris. We've gone into the Q&A. Let me just stop the
Oh,
recording.